On this episode of the Dudes and Dads podcast, we welcome the official barber of the Dudes and Dads podcast, DJ.
You're listening to the Dudes and Dads podcast, a show dedicated to helping men be better dudes and dads by building community through meaningful conversation and storytelling. And now, here are your hosts, Joel DeMott and Andy Lehman.
Joel, we are back in studio, and it's a wonderful thing.
Oh, boy.
It is wonderful.
Season 2, Episode 11. Andy, I got to say, I enjoy you remotely, but I really enjoy you within 6 feet. That's the truth.
Oh man, it is so nice to get back to the studio and be right here in the same room and drinking coffee together. It's one of those things that I think that you can't beat a good coffee with friends within 6 feet. I mean, you zooming is great, but not for coffee. And
you don't catch
chat.
the aromas. You don't catch the essence quite the same way.
Right. That is exactly the problem.
I miss your essence. That's what I miss your musk, and I miss your essence.
Wow, this is going places I did not expect it to go.
Oh,
maybe I want to go back and do remote. Sorry, Joel.
I need space again.
So anyways, well, it's been a long time since we've actually been in studio together drinking coffee. So you know what time it is, Joel?
Oh, it's time.
What's brewing? What's brewing? What's brewing? What's brewing?
So what are we drinking tonight?
Well, we're drinking the Mexican, which is my favorite blend from the Electric Brew, the Cafe Justo. So just let's in the spirit of everything tonight, local business. Let's just remember we've got many local roasters that still need your patronage. So swing by a coffee house, pick something up. You may not be able to sit down. It's a grab and go for many, but worth the trip. And I just want to give a nice shout out. Speaking of which, Andy, to the What's Brewing scenario here, went down to Electric Brew to get myself a sweet pound of coffee the other day. I had all 4 children with me. And you know how
Were you wearing your mask?
I was wearing my mask, yes, absolutely. Thank you. And I was fully sanitized, head to toe. I won't tell you how that happened. But nevertheless, go in there to order, get some smoothies, strawberry smoothies for the kids, because I bribed them and said, if you behave, we got to run some errands.
If you behave, you'll get to get some.
I'll get the smoothie.
Yeah,
You're gonna get the smoothie. So we did the smoothie thing. I'm getting the smoothies. I'm getting my iced coffee, but I also got a pound of the whole bean. Obviously, I walk out of there, get in the car, we drive home, got everything except my whole bean coffee. I left it.
Oh, Joel.
I was so concentrated on. I was just really dialed in on getting everything for the kids, not spilling anything. So on and so forth. And but here's the thing about the wonderful people at the Electric Brew. I realized the following day, hey, I don't have my coffee. I called them. They said, oh, yes.
We saw it here.
It's sitting here with your name on it. Whenever you're able to come in, it's waiting for you.
That's awesome.
So kind.
That is very good. Well, so back, if you've seen the live, any of the videos that I've done here for the Dudes and Dads podcast, you know that I have what my wife effectively likes to call my eye makeup, and it is actually a black eye.
Because Julie had enough of your sass.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What it actually was is my son Micah and I were play fighting, kind of just throwing punches at each other and kicking and
sparring, maybe.
Yeah, that's
sparring
in the kitchen actually.
Sparring in the kitchen.
It's the best place to spar.
Great place to spar.
It is. And he turned around, his whole body around.
Roundhouse kick.
No.
Okay.
In the process of doing that, though, smacked the back of his head right into my eye socket.
Oh,
and it was like,
geez.
Julie knew it hurt because she could tell that I was trying not to
cry.
Weep. Yes.
Cry.
And my eye was watering, and I'm like, I'm gonna be okay, really.
Yeah.
And so I went up to work because I'm working upstairs now these days. I'm at home for now. And I came back at 4:00, and lo and behold, Julie is like, "You have a black eye."
Oh, boy.
And It was bad. You can kind of see some remnants of it if you're looking at the YouTube video right now.
It looks like it's healing up nicely.
But it's definitely there. So, what's going on in the world with Joel?
Oh my gosh, Andy, we are going to cross that finish line this week. The finish line that is known as e-learning. Last day. I'm
gonna give you a hand here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Last day of e-learning on Friday here. Obviously, you guys are going to be hearing this after the fact, but 3 boys in elementary school overseeing that process. One of which is in a dual immersion, so I'm speaking a little Espanol with him. And by the way, learning like doing homework in Spanish is one thing. I can read Spanish reasonably well, but here's the deal. His Spanish work is in math and science.
Oh.
Spanish math is
no bueno.
No bueno.
It's a good thing that you have some friends who speak Spanish.
That's right. I will be honest with you. I did reach out a few times to my good friends who are fluent speakers, and let me just tell you, I did feel a little bit better after one of them told me. I sent a screenshot of like a word problem, basically, and she's like, "That's hard to read even if you do speak Spanish." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Good. I feel a little bit better. So yeah, we're crossing that finish line. We're also ramping up. Goshen Little League has announced that they will be having an altered season. We're starting late, going a little bit later, and it's just something that number 1 and 2 are really looking forward to, actually. And so amidst, and as Andy knows, and our shooting sports meetings have through 4-H,
all but gone.
Essentially done. Fishing club the same way. So we've got something to look forward to. We're finishing school. My Jackie is still working from home, and I am getting back here into the office some. Our Tuesday morning staff meetings are an interesting one because we each have our own separate round table that we sit at in a big circle. It's kind of like King Arthur, a little bit in there.
Should I play the music for the dudes at the square table?
It's not nearly that epic. But yeah, we're easing back into some things and just trying to also figure out that music. That's it. Yeah. Beautiful. It's the best crossfade of 2020. So we're getting back into the swing of some things, and I'm just looking forward to here in the coming weeks being able to reconnect with students, and I'm obviously thinking about our 2020 grads as they're getting ready to take on the next chapter of life, trying to do all those transitions the best we can in these days. So things are looking up. We saw the sunshine today for a while, Andy. I got my garage cleaned out. Don't mind if I brag about that a little bit. That was an accomplishment if you've seen my garage. So things are on the up and up, my friend. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Well, tonight we are, like I said, we were bringing on our official Barber of the Dudes and Dads podcast. And so welcome to the show, DJ.
Hey, hello.
Hello.
Glad to be here.
Hello. Yes. DJ, first of all, we really got excited. I'll put it out there. We really got excited when Andy and I we just made this decision. We're like, we need a barber. Barbers are important. Now, for me, a barber is slightly less important than it was previously. For those of you that are seeing the travesty that has happened to my face here, the beard has gone for the time being. But I have had a nice trim from DJ. We just love having a guy. And we've thought about even having an episode where we just talk about the fact that we are in a place in life right now as we reach a certain age where it's good to have a guy for things. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you have to.
You got to have a guy, right?
That is the only way to live.
I agree. And that's the thing. I want to encourage more people to have a guy for things. So when people are like, "Oh, I see you trimmed your beard," it's like, no, I've got a guy, and they're like, "Oh, this is next level now." So whether it's for my, we talk about Ryan as our guy. We have a mechanic now that is our go-to over at Bender Automotive. The Concrete Barber downtown Goshen. That's our barber, and Andy and I are accumulating guys I think, is for a guy for that sounded odd.
That sounded
it sounded
strange.
odd. We're just accumulating people and keeping them in our basement. No. So we're just grateful to have you as one of our guys, our go-to guys for the Barber needs. So Andy, did you have did you want to start peppering him with questions first? Because I have a lot of questions.
Sure. Well,
I think we're very curious about how one becomes what DJ has become.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit here. I mean, first off, let me just say this. Before meeting you, I hated going to get my haircut because I just went to wherever I could pay somebody and get whoever I got when I got in there.
Much to his wife's chagrin, by the way.
And I hated talking. I hated talking and them asking me questions. And even though that's what I do for the podcast, I ask people questions, but I just hated it. But it's funny because I came to you and I love that. I love chatting with you and hanging out with you. So let's talk a little bit about your story in general. Concrete Barber, where does that title come from? Yeah, what's that all about?
That all about?
Well, that is just pretty much who I am. It is a story kind of my life in a nutshell of the two main things I've done in my adult life to this point.
So you started off, the concrete part came first.
Yep. So when I was right out of high school, I went to Marine Corps boot camp as a reservist, and I came home and I had to have a job. And my job in the Marines was a combat engineer, and part of that was pouring concrete. And so I thought that was kind of neat. Called my guy, my grandpa. I said, "Hey, Grandpa, can you get me a job pouring concrete?"
Yes.
He said, "Oh, let me see what I can do." He made some calls. A couple days later, he said, "Hey, I got you a job. You show up at this place. You just start. You got some summer work." That was at Bender's Construction. I showed up there. They said, "Hey, hop in this truck and we're going to go to the job site."
Yes.
And 15 years later, I was still there, just getting after it.
Yeah. Concrete's hard work, dude.
Yeah.
It's real hard work. And we've a friend of mine I know has another local concrete contractor around here. And I just you're fighting. There's so many things you gotta fight. There, situations. There's sometimes never a perfect situation for laying concrete. It seems like, and people have often told me, contractors have said, if you want it to rain, just have the concrete truck out, and that's the day that it'll all go wrong.
Every time.
Every time.
every time.
Every time. So 15 years doing concrete.
Yep.
And then something changed. Something shifted. But before we get to that, we should find out really more about his family. Actually, would be good. So
this is what we call the dad stats.
Dad stats. Yes.
So if you can tell us just a little bit about you as a person, a husband, a dad, tell us all of those good information.
Okay, I'm married to my beautiful wife, Amber.
Good start. Hi, Amber.
Got our oldest is Natalie. Our next one is Nathan, Jason, and Callie.
Nicely done. So how old's the oldest?
She will be 21 in November.
Yes. Then 21.
21, 17.
Yep.
16.
Yep.
Will be 3 in November. So
Excellent.
2.5.
Excellent. So there's I'm going to point out there's a noticeable gap between 3
1
and 3 and
well
there's several noticeable gaps,
yes.
but the youngest is way younger.
Yep.
So tell us about the story of how your family came together in the way that it is now.
Okay, so basically right out of high school, had my high school sweetheart and thought that was just going to be perfect. And
absolutely,
throw in a little bit of Marine Corps, deployment to Iraq, and that doesn't work very well for a new marriage for some 20-something-year-olds.
Sure. How long were you married before you were deployed?
About 2 or 3 months.
Oh my word! Yeah.
Wow, that's tough.
That's a significant challenge.
Yeah. So that didn't that didn't really go well, and I came home, and that lasted about 7 or 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
We split after that.
Mm-hmm.
A couple years go by, and my wife Amber and I met, and we are.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history,
as they say. So you've got step kids that are considerably older.
Yep.
And so you kind of entered into that role as stepdad. Easy, difficult, somewhere in the middle. Like what was your, because it varies for every person depending on the circumstance, obviously. So
for me, relatively, it's somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
To back up even more, a little bit more of my story. My father figure was my grandpa growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a couple stepdads growing up, so I kind of knew how that felt.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, yeah. I mean, I understand where that is, kind of what that is and what that was like, and,
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to be there. And then but I did have at that same age my dad now,
Mm-hmm.
Duff is his name. He has been there, and he came into my life at 7th grade. So I had a lot of perspective of me coming into my stepkid's life around that same that same age.
Yep.
And then with that being said, I've got a brother that's 14 years younger than me also.
Yeah.
And that is so that was like, okay, like I've lived this already. I got this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's just trying to apply my experience to the current situation that I'm in.
Yep.
And
yeah, entering into a relationship like that. I mean, because it's obviously not just you and your new wife. You're marrying the whole family, right? Like
Yep.
it's the whole package deal. And so,
there's lots of times that I have to say, okay, like I signed up for this.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is like,
yeah,
this is just, yeah, this is okay. And then did I do this? Yep. I can relate to this exact thing.
Mhm.
So just, I
Yep.
need to probably let this one go, or
Yep. It's super helpful. I mean, in your case, I can imagine just having, like you said, just having the prior experience, being able to be self-aware enough to say, okay, I can remember how it was for me. And so kind of extend that grace to the situation that you're immediately in, which is necessary. Because yeah, that's just families are tough no matter what, and the learning curve. I just can't imagine like the learning curve of going to that situation. But so you're in this. Okay, so you are in. So now you're in this relationship. You're with your second wife. You've got the 4 kids are all together. All of them living in the same house now, or
Yep. So I had a home, and it was 840 square feet,
Cozy.
2 bedroom, 1 bath.
cozy.
Yeah.
Cozy. When we all moved in together, I built 2 rooms in the basement,
Mhm.
2 windows down there. So now we've got a 800 square feet, 4 bedroom house.
Yes.
Everybody has their own room. And yeah, we've just been slowly making it our home together, and
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. So that's another interesting thing is that like y'all didn't have anywhere to run or hide from
my
each
God.
other.
No,
Right.
So it's been real for
I bet.
a lot of times.
I bet. Yeah. Yeah. Which again, that could be I would assume. I mean, that's sort of a make it or break it kind of situation. So in your guys' case, coming out on the other side of that, hopefully stronger and.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and it's and my wife Amber, she is amazing. She truly is the glue. She makes.
Amber, I hope you're hearing all this. We did not tell him to say any of these things. He's just singing your praises. This is wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, we have a large blended family. Even like her family is. We just have there's 13 grandkids.
Oh wow!
Wow. Yeah.
For my mother-in-law and father-in-law, and it is, so it's pretty cool that everything all works. Everybody gets along. Everybody.
Beautiful.
It's awesome.
Beautiful. So that's the family background. Here you are. You do a deployment. There's you get into the concrete business. You're at that for 15 years, but then something. You turn a corner, or a decision is made that you're going to go be a barber.
Yeah. So when I was in Afghanistan in 2010, a friend of mine in our platoon had just graduated barber school, cut everybody's hair the whole deployment, and I watched that dude, and I was like, man, this guy is one making a killing cutting his hair.
Yeah.
And then two, like you said, everyone wanted to go to him instead of go to the local PX barber, whoever, because it was not it wasn't the same. And so I thought, if I ever quit pouring concrete, that's what I'm going to go do.
Mm-hmm.
Came home from Afghanistan in 2010. At that point, I've been doing concrete for 7 or 8 years. Went through my divorce. At that time, I'm gonna go do this barber thing right now. The only school is in Fort Wayne, and I never at that time I wasn't mature enough to really pursue it. Other than going, oh, it's in Fort Wayne. I can't leave work to get in school on time every single day.
Right. Well, and for those of us, those are our listeners who are listening who aren't from this area, Fort Wayne is probably like 45 minutes or an hour from Goshen.
Like
hour and a half.
The school is an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
way.
So it's not close.
Not just
definitely
down the
not
road
evil.
for
Right.
sure. Yeah.
And so I chose to not really pursue it and just keep doing what I was doing, and for a couple of years just poured concrete and lived, and it just really wasn't I didn't really do anything. I mean, I dated and that kind of stuff, but it wasn't, looking back, I just wasted a lot of time. And especially like the home improvement projects that I'm doing with a family of 5 or 6 in there and trying to figure it out. And I'm going, why didn't I do that when I was a bachelor watching football on Sunday afternoons doing nothing?
Sure.
And so
So you kind of feel like, I mean, what I hear you saying is that you kind of just existed for a time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we kept pouring concrete for a while, and that was my highlight. That kind of what brought me pride or fulfillment in life, and then kind of got to the point where my back went out, and I started kind of feeling the pains, and I started looking into the future and went, well, wait a minute, if I don't own the company, I don't. What's the long-term thing for me here? And if I get old at this, or the things just change with the economy or whatever, like it did in 2008,
right?
Which is why I went to Afghanistan in the first place. What am I going to do? I thought, well, that's kind of scary to me.
Yeah.
And I think I'd rather have at that point, I was choosing that I wanted to kind of drive my bus and see where I wanted to go. And so I looked into the barber thing again. I realized that it was GI Bill eligible, and you could get a stipend for going there, a monthly stipend. So I did the math, and that made up for the time I'd have to miss work. And I talked to the guys at Bender's and said, hey, I would have to leave every day at noon to go to school. So should I find another job or what? And they said, no, we'll make this work. You just drive to the job.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And through all this, they have been, without them, none of this could have happened. They've been my father figures, and those dudes are awesome over there, and I can't thank them enough.
And that's the thing about employers, and I've been fortunate enough, and I think Andy has as well in certain ways, having employers that have that they want the best for you, like that kind of sense of is a good thing, where it's like, hey, we recognize that us having you or empowering you to do these things may mean that you're not in our employment forever, or that employment is going to change, but we recognize that that's the helping someone move toward their dreams and their goals is a better place to be than having someone who is just kind of like,
who's mediocre.
And just writing
it
and kind of writing it out, so to speak,
Yep.
So that's, man, great vision on their part.
Yeah. And for them, it was, I came into their lives at 18, 18 and grandpa was starting to fail in health and that kind of stuff. And so it was, I want to say lost, but they were every day going to the concrete crew. People would check you pretty easily if you needed to. And that was good. And I learned a lot of lessons that way.
Very cool. So you went and did the barber school, and then you finished, and what happened from there? So tell us about that.
So once I was done with barber school, barber school took me 18 months, so 5 days a week, hour and a half or hour and 15 minutes one way. After that, then I spent another 18 months pouring concrete from like 6 to 1 in the afternoon. Go home, clean up, go to the barber shop from 3 to 8 at night. I would do that 4 days a week and Saturdays, and then take Sundays off, and then do.
You were hustling, buddy.
Yeah, you were
hustling.
And at this point, were you married? to Amber or no?
Yep. So
Okay.
when I graduate, Amber and I got married on January 1st of 2017. And then I graduated barber school in May of 2017.
Okay.
So yeah, the family was together the whole
Wow.
time, and yeah,
That's great.
also in there. So our daughter was born in November. So between May and October is when I built the rooms in the basement. So it just
You are one busy man.
it's
I mean, wow. I just don't even know what to say other than, but you clearly, you had a vision in front of you. I mean, like, in my mind, you would only be putting that kind of effort and that kind of energy into something if there was something clearly in front of you that you were going toward. I mean, is that?
oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
And really, and the barber thing also, going back to the concrete crew, was I had a conversation with Lowell there multiple times about how Goshen didn't have barbers, and we had talked about it a few times, and that definitely created a vision in my head, and I saw it, and so it was always just kind of there in the back of my mind, and you had a lot of time to create that vision
Yeah.
and we're still going. So
yeah, and dude, I just like, for those of you that don't know, like, you go into DJ's shop, which by the way, we will link all of the necessary information
Absolutely.
for Concrete Barber over at dudesanddadspodcast.com. But I mean, you go in. There is just a sense of, like, when you go into your shop, when you go into that place, there is just this. I love the connection that you have with people, which is what it's about, right? I mean, it's just like there's a unique connection that I think you have with your clients.
yeah, that's what it's all about. It's going back to, like you said, having a guy for everyone, because I may be somebody's guy to be their hair, but all my people are my guys for.
Right.
I got a dude that, if I want to do a podcast question, I'm going to call you guys.
There we go.
And yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious, because I know that the barber also occasionally has listener/counselor roles, whether they want to or not, or whether they anticipate it or not. I'm sure you've had a lot of good conversations with people over time.
Yeah. That's the best part of it, is getting to talk to people and the different. I tell my kids this, that every day I get to talk to someone and learn about a job that I never knew existed.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. I know that I love being in there. And like I said before, I hated talking, during my haircut, because it was always stupid questions and stupid stuff. But like when I go to and talk with you, it's real
the dude
life.
knows. Yeah, the dude knows what to ask.
It's real life, and it's things we talk about different things like the podcast and church and just different stuff that you have questions about. It's not just me talking to you, and it's not you just talking to me. We're having a conversation, and I really do appreciate that.
In barber school, I'm just wondering, like, do they teach you how to talk to clients? Is that part of the educational process for you?
Part of it, yes. They've got a thing called soft skills, and you watch the cheesy videos from 1995 about people being in the.
Here's what we should do. This idea came to me right now. We should produce our own line of instructional videos for barbers. I think we should do this. How to talk to them. If there's just a bunch of nasty, cheesy instructional videos out there,
We can do it.
We might just have discovered a new niche, a new side hustle.
Yeah, we can.
Barber instructional videos. That's awesome. So that's part of the. I mean, it's part of the learning thing.
I mean, those videos, yeah. But some of it is common sense when you think about it. Like, yeah, you probably shouldn't gossip. Like,
well, yeah,
right.
Common sense to you, but not common sense to everybody. I've been not currently, but in the past, man. And I should say it's more of what I've overheard. But it's like when I've been at salons or whatever, and you overhear some of the conversations that are going on in some of the chairs, and you're just like, this is just like the most depressing thing that I could hear. Where it's like maybe stylist is either friends with or close, knows the person in her chair, but then they have like Karen, their friend. Karen is, by the way, the name that we're now using for the poor soul or undesirable individual. They've got a friend Karen that they're not feeling real great about Karen right now, and they're having and it's just like that in most other professional settings that would not be okay. But there is a certain level, and that's what I appreciate about you. Just there's a professionalism in the conversation too. There's, I mean, a relational piece to it, but it's like people are sharing things with you that they are probably not sharing with other people.
Totally.
Right?
I would say, yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard some things where you're like, oh my, that's kind of you're dropping a bomb on me here, buddy.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun to listen to people just vent about what they got going on, and sometimes it's nice to give a little perspective and sometimes it's appreciated, and sometimes I don't need to fix the problem, and I just need to listen, and it's not about the nail. So
does everybody want to talk to you?
Generally,
yeah.
Sometimes everyone that comes regularly
mm-hmm.
really enjoys talking.
Yeah,
it's feeling out the new people and the people I don't really know. Some people don't want to talk. Some people I don't know.
Yeah,
and I've often thought, man, I should have an option for appointments: talking appointment or quiet appointment.
Please check. Hi, nice to meet you. I'll be cutting your hair. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, whichever way you want, that's fine. It's
just I want to know so I don't offend you.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So let's talk a little bit about like just kind of stepping out and creating your own shop. Like, did you ever go into working for somebody else, or did you right away when you graduated and got your license? Did you start your own shop, and what did that look like? Stepping out and saying, "Hey, I can do this, owning my own business."
Okay, so basically got out of school and said I want to have my own barbershop. That is the goal. Mm-hmm. So I started looking around at some of the shops, and my wife's grandpa cooked chicken with this guy, and he happened to be a barber in town, and said, hey, he needed some people to rent a booth. And so I went there and met with him, and I rented a booth from him. And I said, all right, I'm going to set this up as my barbershop inside here, and this is my business. And from day one, that has been my image and what I've done, and we just kind of grown it from there.
So did you just hit the ground running, and it was like you just had 1 million customers right away?
Nope. Oh, no. Nope, not at all. So in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm from the town. Everybody kind of knows me.
Right.
This will be easy. This will be cool. So I show up, and it's like, all right, like 1 or 2 people, maybe the first day. And so I watch this guy, Ivan Zoot, on YouTube. He's a barber dude that is I believe in. And he says, you got to get out there and hand out business cards. And everything he says, haircutting wise, I listened to. So I got out there on Main Street and walked up and down and just, hey, you need a haircut? You need a haircut? Everywhere I go, I hand out business cards. My wife gets so embarrassed with me. You can't be leaving these out. I would leave them anywhere. I'd stick them up on the bulletin boards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then Instagram, and I really enjoy getting on there. And I would write my times available in the concrete when I had times available, and that kind of drew some interest, and people like that. And yeah, it took about 18 months before I thought I might be able to go and be busy enough to do this full time.
So you at this point you had your own shop, but you were also still pouring concrete, or
yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I would be pouring concrete during the day, and even that, like all the contractors on the different job sites, I go tell them, hey, you want a haircut? I'll give you a haircut this afternoon.
Yeah.
And
nice.
Doing the double duty for the first year and a half of that.
Do you feel like my perception is like being a barber is like a really noble, like I consider it like a very noble like a real noble profession. Is there a fraternity of barber? Like what's the culture around being a barber? Because I feel it's like it's kind of a lost art. So to speak, like it's not as common anymore. Like I think back to the barbershops of old, right, where that was a central meeting place for a community. It was and in certain urban environments, in certain cultural places, it's still very much that way. What is barber culture? Like what is that? What's your sense of that, and how kind of being a barber is, what it looks like today, and how it's doing in general?
It's definitely booming, and it's a big business, and there's a lot of people that are doing really amazing things in it.
Mm-hmm.
And there definitely is that in that meeting place and those big barber shops, and that is I think more in the urban area.
Mm-hmm.
But then here it's a little bit different speed, and we do things a little bit differently. but people still want that old school barbershop and the blue lights and the everything and the smells and everything that go with that.
Yeah.
I think people really miss that and like that and are seeking that out.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that I wanted that until I came to your shop, and I was like, "Oh, this is this is different."
That's the beautiful thing when you find out that it's the thing that you've always wanted and never knew you wanted. That's how you know,
right? Well, and now it's like, okay, so you're back to cutting hair. You were gone. I mean, you were out for a little bit for the COVID-19 thing.
Boy.
You had to shut down your business, and now you're back open and slammed. And like, I had to wait several weeks to get my haircut. It's super long right now, but I was not going to go anywhere else. I was like, I'm going right back to DJ because I like it. So
see, and that's crazy you say that because so you never grew up going to barbershops or nothing like that.
Never.
Me either. Nope.
See, and my grandpa went to Scott's barbershop. Right downtown.
Yep, right downtown.
So Paul Scott would cut my hair as a kid. I would go with my grandpa at 6 a.m. to get my hair cut. Yeah, because Grandpa was the dude. He was always up early, so he and I were always hanging out. And he was an auctioneer, so he was out doing auctioneer things. Yeah. And we get our haircut, every couple weeks there. And I remember going in there and listen to them talk politics and talk those things. And so when I saw my friend do the barber thing, I connected those dots. I was like, oh, that would be really cool. Like, I really enjoyed that experience. I enjoyed that. And there's something to do with I think the father part of it, or like me not having a dad in my life growing up necessarily, and wanting to. I'm not sure. I haven't figured that out yet. But there's something there. I think the male connection and the brotherhood. Because that's something. A reason why I joined the Marines also is is for that. So yeah, it's pretty cool that if you don't have that experience, you don't know you want what you want. Yeah, you don't know what you're missing until you know.
And now I have to have it. Like, there's nothing else.
Yeah,
I'm not going anywhere else.
There's zero options
for my thing.
And I should just say, I mean, we can't recommend DJ highly enough. And with this happened just a little while ago. Our mutual friend Tyler was looking to change hairstyles, the whole deal, and he just put out on Facebook. He's like, "Hey, I'm looking for a new place," and Andy and I could not type fast.
We're both like DJs, and then like
yeah, and it's like that. We've become real evangelists for the barber experience, as far as I'm concerned, and we just. Dude, we're really grateful. We're grateful that you were willing to sort of step out in the way that you were, and that you have a vision for this thing. I think it's a skilled craft, and that kind of thing feels like it's missing from our society in many places. Like having a person who has like honed a skill and who is just like a well-rounded individual and not some kind of fly-by-night nut job. Because skilled trades do get a bad rap in some places, in that area, right? Like it's kind of like, well, guy couldn't pull himself together to do anything else, so he's just like, I'll do this or whatever.
I'll go pour concrete. I'll go frame or whatever. And you're right. It does get that way, and life all works out, and it's all supposed to be, and I think that's God. That's God puts everything in your life in a way for a reason, because cutting hair and pouring concrete are so similar in so many ways, because you have your comb and your screed board are the same exact tool. And your trowel and your scissors or your clippers are the same exact tool. You're just manipulating a material with.
See, I would never have made this connection, but now he's saying he takes a real Zen approach to the barber, and this is what I like.
Yeah,
it's real philosophical.
Well, it's frustrating sometimes too, because I'll be reading in school, or someone will try and teach me something, and they'll be using terms like layering or weight, and I'm thinking literally like, okay, this is layered, then each hair needs to be progressively longer or shorter. So I'm looking at haircuts, going, well, that hair is this many inches, and this one is, and it has been hard to work through that sometimes.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you for coming out. But but before we hang up with you, or hang up. Wow,
it's funny. You can tell we've been on remote because
we're not. This is not
hanging up. Are we on dial-up?
No. I'm not gonna make that modem screeching sound. But before we let you go from the studio, we have one last thing to do.
Now it's time for the Dudes and Dads Pop Quiz.
So if you've never joined us for the Dudes and Dads Pop Quiz, what it is the time that we are going to ask DJ about 8 or 10 just really random questions that we've not prepared for, he's not prepared for, because he doesn't know what we're going to ask. Because we want to just get to know him better, because the reason we have this show is to expose you guys to our friends or become friends with people. So
that's right.
We want you to know DJ better.
That's
right. So, Joel, will you kick it off with the very first question?
I would love to kick it off with the very first question. DJ, I'm just wondering, can you name the first? Maybe it's the same thing. I'm wondering. Here's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in his relationship with his barber tools. This is what I want to know about. So, do you like what was the first like your first official barber supply thing that you got when you went into business?
When I went into business, the first big thing I bought was the hot lather machine and the vacuum, because those were the must-haves.
You heard it right. The hot lather machine, guys. You don't get that just anywhere. I just want to.
No.
It sounds sensual, and it is. I'll just say. Not in a bad way. It's really lovely. Okay, the hot lather machine. Got it. Good. Next.
All right. So if you could cut any style of haircut, what would be your favorite haircut style to cut?
Right now, I'm really digging the slick backs and like the big pompadours. Those are kind of fun because they were pretty hard for me to figure out, and I've struggled for a long time, and I feel like I'm starting to get them.
Nice.
So now I'm wanting to do those. And then the mullets. The mullets I've got a crew of guys, like 5 or 6 dudes that are all buddies. They're my brother's age, and they're all running around with mullets, and they have been for 6 or 8 months. They've been coming in about all on schedule. I had
That's amazing.
One today, one tomorrow, and I think one in 2 or 3 days.
It's like a mullet parade for crying out loud. Oh my gosh.
Mullet Mafia.
Are they doing the Mullet Mafia? Are they doing the lines? Are they doing or is it?
I've done some lines sometimes. They kind of dealer's choice. So it depends how I'm running on time. If I throw them in there. Or...
Yeah, maybe some lightning bolts. That could really tie it together. DJ, would you? Let's see. Would you say that? Oh my gosh! Guys, he's showing me a picture.
Show the camera for us here.
That.
Oh yeah.
You can't make that up. That's artistry right there. Oh my gosh!
We'll have that one up on Instagram.
That's so beautiful. Let's see here. Do you remember where you took? We always like to ask this question. Do you remember where you took your wife for your first date?
Yeah, we went to Michigan City to see. We just went there and we happened to see the lighthouse.
Nice.
She said, "Oh, they still have lighthouses around?" I said, "Yeah, I think they're kind of all over." She said, well, "I'd like to see more of those." And since then, something we do for fun is we're trying to see every lighthouse on the Great Lakes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Awesome. The Lower Peninsula of Michigan is done.
See,
and we're working on the UP.
This is why This is why the Dudes and Dads the pop quiz can. This gives me ideas, right?
Right. I wouldn't have even thought to.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's awesome.
It's and for the first little bit of the Lower Peninsula, it's pretty easy because they're all within an hour or 2 hours.
It's not too bad.
You can knock them off pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Well, that's there we go. Lighthouses, gentlemen, get on it.
Unless they're flooded.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So for my next question, I'm going to ask you a relatively simple one. What is your favorite food to eat?
Well, generally all of it.
Okay, so if you had to pick a favorite, what would it be?
We really enjoy Los Primos. Some Mexican's pretty good.
Great answer.
And then pizza's always a solid go-to.
Yes. You make a good youth pastor. Let's see.
You're just trying to recruit him.
That's next. If you can drink Mountain Dew and eat pizza, come on down. Let's see. We're gonna go with the. I want to try to figure out most. okay, so you obviously had to go through boot camp, as anybody in your experience does. Can you worst boot camp experience that you can share with our audience?
Okay, worst experience, but best for me for the rest of my life.
See, now there's perspective. Okay.
So night one, there we are. We get out of the shower, all 87 of us or whatever at one time. We go ahead and head to where the room. Let me back up. There we are, all 87 of us in the shower, and they start yelling, "Get out, get out, get out." So everybody gets out, and there's 87 camouflage hygiene kits all lined up. Well, nobody's grabbing. It takes one guy to not grab the right one for everybody else to not get theirs. I'm one of the last ones out, and there's 3 bags on the left, and I know for a fact my bag was on the right.
Oh, no.
So I go and grab this bag on the left. We go to the room to brush our teeth. They say, "Get out your toothbrush." I'm looking at the toothbrush going, "This isn't my toothbrush. I haven't been using here."
Oh, man.
So you put the toothbrush on and brush, and that proceeds to happen the next 3 nights in a row. So we got a different toothbrush 3 nights in a row.
Oh, man.
Not much is gross anymore after that. When I compare it to the toothbrush test.
Oh boy. Gosh. I mean, Andy, I just have to ask, Andy, have you ever accidentally, if you and Julie ever switched toothbrushes or used the same brush or in a pinch ever done that?
No, because even if I would try, I think she'd throw it away afterwards.
I was going to say, some people
no.
are, Jackie and I are relatively generous with that, but if we're ill, if we're sick or anything, then no.
No.
Yeah. That's just where you draw. That's where you
right,
clearly
that's
draw the line.
Line right there.
You, sir, cannot
Do not use my toothbrush.
Of all the things, we share many things, but the toothbrush.
Not the toothbrush.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So my last question for you is going to go back to the barber thing here.
Mm-hmm.
So someone comes in, sits down, says, "I want this style of hair." Have you ever had that where you're like, "I don't know how to cut that," and what was that feeling like for you?
Yeah, I definitely have had that. First few times I was not brave enough to say, "Hey, I can't do that." So, and my mind says, "Oh, I'm here to learn, and I'm not gonna get better by not doing it." So go ahead and give this a try, and whatever happens, I'll deal with the situation. So we gave it the try, and I sweated through it. And then recently, I've started telling people, like, "Look, you're not gonna be happy with what you get from me with this, because I don't do this enough, and I respect you enough to want to put you somewhere where you're going to get what you want." So it's a lot easier to do what I do most right now.
Gotcha.
Such an honest reply. That way, for those of you that are scared with your crazy haircuts, can he handle it? He'll let you know what he
can and can't do.
What he can and can't do with you and your crazy hairstyles out there.
Yeah, and with that being said, go ahead and send me a picture, or reach out on social media ahead of time, and I will give you a good consult.
See, there you go. And that's what I love. Really great online social media presence. Very, very accessible, which is really helpful, because you can find out lots of things.
And again, that's my wife, Amber. She is running the books and putting the schedule on for putting everybody on the schedule and running the text message machine. She
ching number 3, Amber. You're getting getting all the praise this episode. We should bring her in here too and really get behind the scenes. My final question is going to be one of we're just gonna ask if you could cut any person's hair currently, any individual's, any person currently alive, if you could cut their hair, who would it be?
Any person currently alive. Probably Donald, because I want to see if that thing's
it's a mystery. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. What is happening up there? Oh my gosh.
And I just want to see, I want to have that conversation and just who knows, because there's so much out there one way or the other.
Yeah. It is. It's like there's a lot of folklore around it.
Yeah.
Around what's going on there hair-wise.
Yeah,
fantastic.
That's a tough question. I can answer that about 5 or 6 different ways.
I'm sure.
Enough time to think about that.
But congratulations, DJ. You have successfully completed yet another Dudes and Dads pop quiz. Well done. Well done.
Yes. So we want to remind you guys to join us. Go ahead and go to dudesanddadspodcast.com for all of our episodes. Go to any place you get podcasts, hit that subscribe button because you'll get an episode every time it comes out.
That's right.
And we also want to thank our Patreons who are financially supporting us and allowing us to keep doing this. So if you would like to join us and get behind the scenes stuff and extra stuff, go to Dudes and Dads Podcast /support and you can join our other fine patrons.
And let's not forget, Dudes and Dads Podcast at gmail.com. Always love to converse with y'all. Hey, make sure you check DJ out. All of his info will be over at the website.
ConcreteBarber.com.
ConcreteBarber.com. Thank you. Guys, just get on his schedule. He's booked out for, it's a long time, but you know what? Maybe he'll find an opening for you if you just mention our name. So until next time, everybody, we appreciate you for tuning in.
Grace.
And peace.